Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here again, and I feel really blessed by the testimonies that are springing up from the teaching. And I trust God more are going to come up, and many lives are going to change and transform as they apply this point from this teaching as inspired by the Holy Spirit. So, this day we'll be looking at what are the strategies for creative thinking. It is one thing for us to be creative, it's another thing for us to think creatively. Many of us don't even know how to think. 95% of the population we see today assume that they are thinking, but they are not thinking. Only 5% are the ones thinking. A creative thinker is someone who is ready to focus like a laser beam on a given objective to see that he experiences the desired result he needs to obtain. And this is why I would like to state that the number one strategy for creative thinking is time. Time is the number one strategy for creative thinking. Note, thinking takes time. Thinking that you see today takes time. You do not just think of a creative decision and you are expecting an idea to fall from the heaven just like that. No, it's not going to happen. Thinking takes time, takes process. Imagine Peter in the book of Acts 10. If you read down when God showed him about the animals that Peter said they are not clean, God was teaching him that we need you to take the gospel to the Gentiles. But for Peter to have an understanding of those information, he has to think. And when you look at verse 19 of that Acts 10, verse 19, the Bible said, why Peter thought on the things. So it took time, he thought about it. And while he was thinking about it, the Holy Spirit gave him the insight and the inspiration to understand the process of those food that was brought from heaven that he was rejecting, to understand that it is time to take the gospel to the Gentiles. So, thinking takes time. You must be a deep thinker if you want to draw virtues out of what? Thinking. You must give yourself to thinking. Deep call it auto deep. So if you want to get insight concerning your business as you run this week, then you must be ready to think on the things that you want to achieve. Be ready to put your mind to work. Think out process. Focus on it. Think ways how you could make that business to be successful. Think ways how you could run that ministry to be successful. Think ways how you could make that struggling, dying business to revitalize and begin to command the attraction of many. God speaks easily to men of concentrated thought, men that keeps thinking, pondering ways. They look at the object they want to transform and they start thinking. Just like the architecturer, when he wants to design a project or design a building, he first of all think of how the building is going to look like. He start imagining the process and he start putting them bit by bit. And before you know, wow, everybody is screaming, wow, this is magnificent. So you could understand this. Thinking take time, and that is why time is what a very important strategies for creative thinking. So I want to leave you with this. Lack of concentration in the thinking process is what makes people to lose ideas so easily. When you just want to, like, okay, you just want to think on something and the next few minutes you're already out of it, you will not get the virtue, you will lose the idea. Stay in the idea. He said, let every man abide in the calling which he is called. Stay in it. Jesus was a man of one thing. He said, for this reason he came into the world to save men. But you have to be a thinker. You have to be creative. Can you imagine? There was no on speaker, there was no microphone during Jesus' days, but yet multitude was chasing him. Have you thought about how was he able to speak to the 5,000 men that sat down, excluding the women and children? Creativity. Creativity is a virtue. And that is why this week, as you go forth, put your time to think out ways to see that business prosper. Think out ways to see that job that you are chasing after be handed over to you. I believe you'll be blessed by this word. Stay blessed.